Welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle. And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back to another episode of your Morning Throners podcast, the best Game of Thrones podcast out there, the only one going chapter by chapter of A Song of Ice and Fire.
At least this in depth, you can bet your ass on that.
You bet your bottom dollar. And
I'll
we're
take
number
that
10
bet.
in top 10 in Turkey, so take that, motherfuckers.
We might have dropped. I'm not sure if that's down.
Don't forget to like, comment, share,
Subscribe.
review.
Everything.
Also, we don't talk about this enough, or we don't say this up front enough, and I feel like it's a little late in the game to start doing this now, but I have gotten feedback that we should be saying at the beginning of all the episodes, like, hey, there's going to be show spoilers ahead.
Hey guys, just so you know, there's gonna
we
be show
give
spoilers
spoiler
ahead a
alert.
little bit.
Fuck them. If you haven't watched the show yet, come on.
What? I haven't watched the show yet.
Yeah,
So
but fuck you.
We'll, in the next few episodes, we'll try and figure out a way to like explain that in
Hey,
a short.
we're
concise
doing
way
the
at beginning of
books
each
here, and we
episode.
talk about the show, so there's going to be show spoilers.
Yeah, there's some show spoilers. Even though Kyle hasn't seen it, there's some show spoilers. Be warned. But what we got here? What chapter?
All right, so John 7, we end up back out in the haunted forest where Ghost found the broke, or I guess he broke the wrist off. It wasn't just the
Yeah, did he
hanging
tear
wrist.
it off like a beast?
Yeah, we find out through this that he ripped it off. Yeah.
So we go back to the bodies that Ghost found, and turns out that they're two of Brandon Stark's men, or Benjen.
Benjen
sorry.
Stark. Yep.
Yeah.
Benjen Stark's men.
Othor, and Jafar.
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 And
I was
also-
saying Yaffer.
I was saying something like that too in my head, I think.
Jafer. Jafer like wafer.
What's the deal? What we got here, Kyle? Like who's with us?
Well, I mean, it's I forget his name now. Old Bear. What is that? Can't think
Old
of
Bear Mormont.
Mormont. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Gior.
J or
What's that?
Mormont.
So fucking George. Real quick sidebar. I know Jeff said that we have to
That's
stay
okay, I'm
focused,
just
so it's
kidding.
a long one. Real quick sidebar. George R. R. Martin and all these fucking like interviews, people always say like, well, how did you like come up with the names? And he says that like he has like a lot of answers for it. But the one thing he says is like the thing they teach you in writing school is like never make two characters, especially like main characters, in the same family with the same first letter of the first name.
Why is
And-
that?
J
It's easier
or
to
Because
draw apart.
it confuses readers, right? Especially if they have the same last name. And George's like, well, I'm gonna have more than 26 characters, and I'm gonna have a lot more than 26 characters. So he just role modeled it after like real history, where like everyone is like someone else's namesake. So like
Variation.
that's why it's fucking Targaryens. There's like 6 Aegons that are like king throughout like Westeros, right? And it's super hard to like tell them apart. Like when we talk about them, like
That makes
as
me really
theories and
confused a
stuff.
lot.
so.
It's like real history though.
We-
How
we-
many Henrys are there?
Yeah.
exactly.
Like 9
And-
or 12.
and
Yeah.
So we got Gior Mormont is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, but we know another Mormont, his son.
Jory.
Jorah.
Jorah.
Jory. See?
Jorah and Gior.
And then
Like,
you got,
are you kidding me, dude? Like, you can make them more different than that, but I guess it's more like historical, right? Because it's like they just make it slight variations of other names. I guess. I don't know.
Well, and then that goes even further. That like then across them all, there's still similarities between them. Like I said, I mean, I just said Jory, which that wasn't. He's not. Right.
Oh, Jory's a Stark guy who died.
Yeah,
Jory
that's what I'm
Cassell.
saying. So I mean, like, there's even more layers of confusion because even unrelated people are still almost named the same, and that's where I get
Yeah.
all lost.
And
the
wait till they
example-
just
this
continue
is-
to
I
add
think-
a million characters.
Yeah. I think
I'm
this is
sure.
the best example because this is the one that trips me up the most. But the one that George always like talks about too is just Tywin and Tyrion.
Yeah.
They both are T.Y. Lannister, and then
Really close named.
but yeah, that's beside the point. We got Old Bear Mormont here. Who else we got, Kyle?
Well, I know Sam and John are there.
Why? Why are they there?
Why are they there? Because they are the stewards. to
John's a
those-
steward for
for the Lord Commander Mormont,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Sam is the Maester, right? What's his name?
Mr.
Aemon.
Aemon.
That's
Mr. Aemon.
Maester Aemon. Yeah, he's his, and he couldn't go, so he's there alone.
Well,
Or you
and
just
he's
can't
blind
see.
anyway.
What?
You
But
can't
yeah,
see.
he's blind anyway, right? That's because he's the blind maester.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah,
got to
he's
be able to
to be
see
his eyes.
some, right?
I don't think so.
No,
Because they
Yeah.
say Clytus is like so
Well,
when
they-
John is
hang
first on
on,
Mace
but
Rayman.
when they brought the bodies back,
He does say like I want
Mace Rayman
Mace
to take a
Have a
Rayman
look
to
at
see
him.
it.
to have
Yeah.
a look at him. So he's got
Maybe
to
more
it
of
means-
a
No,
maybe
I don't
more of
think
a
it means
feel.
Like that. Yeah,
but-
I think it's more of a feel. Maybe I don't know. Just because like when John met them, it was like Mace Rayman was blind, and Clytus was half blind. Right, so John distinguished between blind and half blind, and that's why he said it'd be so great for them to have Sam, because it was Eamon who's blind, Clytus who's half blind, and Chet who can't read. So Sam, somebody who's not blind at all and can read,
is a big
is like
help.
a double
He's an
winner.
improvement.
exactly.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, like the comparison between blind and not blind. John's pointing out,
but like,
maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, half blind is different than almost blind, which is different than actually like completely 100% blind, right?
I know what you're saying, but I always thought he was like 100% blind.
I don't know. Whatever.
I
Doesn't
think
matter.
I think he's pretty close, but yeah, let's move on. So other than that, there's like a dozen Rangers there.
Yeah, it's-
I think.
It's that party. Who's the head of it?
Riker.
Riker. Yeah.
Jeremy
Yeah.
Riker. Yeah, they say like a Dodger Rangers. They name a few later on, but the only like really notable one they mentioned like a few other times later is Dwen, I think.
Something like that. Dwyn,
Dwen. Yeah.
I like Daiwan.
and
That
Chet.
one sounds cooler. Oh,
So-
Chet, though.
Glow. How do they like analyze what's going on here?
So they first take a look. Sam's really scared and about to throw up the whole time. And John's like, dude, you have to look. So they start looking at it and they lift the one dude's head and they realize that like only a couple tendons are holding the neck to the head still. And the other guy, they're saying it's an axe, and they're saying, well, maybe it's the wildlings have axes.
That's a little later on. First, they're talking about the animals. They're talking about like
Oh,
John
the
notes
animals,
how like the
yeah.
horses won't come and like none of the dogs will come. Right.
The
And
horses
I
are
think-
freaking out.
The horses are freaking
And
out.
then
Dogs won't go anywhere near it. They're
John's
hooting and
freaking
hollering.
out a little bit.
And in the middle of that somewhere, John has a weird dream.
Yeah, he brings up his dream from the night before where he went to the
do
crypts,
you know
right?
what that was about? Yeah.
As he started going down to the crypts, no one was in the castle, but he starts going down to the crypts, and then the dead start coming out of the tombs, I guess you would say.
So he says
For the
coming
king.
out of the
Ground,
vault's opening.
the vault's opening.
That makes me so when I was thinking this picture before, and I probably from the show, the tombs are like horizontal tombs, like a casket would normally
Like in a
right?
morgue.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But vault makes me think maybe that's how the casket is, but maybe it's behind like a horizontal door.
Well, yeah. So, like, I mean, what are they called now? Mausoleum, right? Like, it's like a building, like the buildings in the middle of a graveyard that have caskets inside of them.
Right.
Yeah,
and
but
there's-
those are
they're
normally
like
just like
along the whole
nameplates on a
wall.
wall, right? And then there's like stacked. Those are
So
normally just like nameplates on a wall that are stacked on top of each other. I'm talking about like look at like a bank vault with like a big circle door, and then like inside of it,
That
it's a cash.
swings
That's what
open.
I picture like now. Before I didn't picture this, I was picturing basically like stone coffins behind these statues. But now, because that's what's in the show. But now I'm picturing
Yeah.
like a stone statue behind like a door of some sort, and inside there is the
Yeah.
actual.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
it's the
similar
same
to,
idea as a mausoleum.
I
It's like
guess
a
so.
burial structure that they're in a
okay,
room.
okay.
I mean,
mean,
they're
you're already
underground,
in
so they're not a
underground. Yeah,
freestanding building, obviously.
So I think like I gotcha. It's not to argue about, but it's just something that like I didn't picture like this before. Even like I think even until this read, I always thought they were just like kind of like caskets. They're not like doors, but yeah, it's weird. But then they come in this dream. What they come to life? Did you say that? Chloe? They come to life and
They start
come
coming out, and that's
after
when he
him, or he
wakes
just
out.
wakes up. Yeah.
He wakes up in like terror or something. Ghost comes and nuzzles him up a little bit.
And there's a couple times where he like throughout the chapter he like thinks he's a boy. Like sometimes I think like looking at the bodies, he's like, I'm not a boy. No, I can't be. I have to be like a man of the Night's Watch. I have to be like tough or strong or whatever. And this is one of those like when he's looking at like you said, he convinced Sam to look at the body. And when he looks at the body, he's like kind of creeped out himself.
Yeah, he almost throws up.
It's
because
a,
they
it's
know that
But he
a,
doesn't fall asleep
a scary
after
fucking
this
thing, for
dream.
sure.
He goes up to the wall until like daylight or something, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah. So then Mormon starts asking questions. He's like, "Where? Like, how many men did Benjen take?" And they said he took six men. So he's like, "Where are the other fucking four?" And then he's
How'd they
kinda
get so
starts-
close
Yeah,
to the
why are their
wall?
bodies
Kind of
here?
pissed at Riker. Yeah, he's like, they're so close.
He's
Like, how
pissed
did you
as
not figure
shit.
this out?
How did you not hear him? Did you never see him? Like, are you not?
Yeah, because
know,
one of the guys
going
had a
around.
horn. right? One of the guys had a hunting horn. He's like, if they were in danger, this guy definitely would have like sounded this thing.
Mm-hmm.
How are you not even close enough to hear a hunting horn?
Yeah.
And he's like,
he
we would
makes
have
some
heard
bullshit
it.
ass
They definitely
excuses.
weren't around, which makes sense because later we find out these bodies are most likely like put here, right? Because
Yeah.
because of the blood and stuff.
What
Sam
said.
dropped some knowledge on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, like CSI Sam over here.
CSI Sam.
He just watched every episode of NCSI, Game of Thrones, and just
yeah.
It got a bit chilly in here. He throws on sunglasses.
This is where he starts talking about how they die glow. So like, how's this like? First off, they don't really talk too much about the autopsy of the second guy.
Well, he says
they just say,
he
like,
has a bunch of
like,
stab wounds.
rash.
He has a bunch of stab wounds and shit.
He's
Was it stab
hacked
wounds?
up, I think. I think it's the same axe, it sounds like.
I'm not sure. So the first guy, they say that there's like basically his head's like basically cut half
it's
off.
barely even on. Strings of tendons are holding it together.
And one guy like immediately says it's probably the other guy's axe, but that axe wasn't even there.
No, I think he said it was his axe. Like, oh yeah, Othor carried an axe. I think Othor had the slash in his
Nah,
neck.
I think it's
No,
the
no,
other
you
guy.
have it the other way, though.
The other guy,
Oh, well, I'll go fuck myself.
Jafer, had the
Yeah,
axe.
Flowers
Yeah,
has
just
his
for
head
flowers.
almost took off. And he
Yeah,
says
I thought it was
Othor
the
had
other
an axe.
Which would have made sense because that's kind of like what happened in the first episode, or in the first chapter, right? Where like the one guy died and then he killed the other guy. So like maybe that's what happened.
Oh, you think Othor turned and then killed the other guy?
Maybe.
I
assume
just
that
thought
that's what
maybe,
they
like-
assumed right away.
Okay.
But then, how would they end up here, though? And why wouldn't he have his axe still?
Well, he would have had to turn first, so somebody would have still had to kill Othor. I'm not saying just like turned like against him because he didn't like him anymore.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, so if that's what happened, Othor
I'm not saying that's what happened.
Axe.
I'm just saying like, is that what they're saying? Because the one guy says like they had an axe, or
Well, they're
it's his
like
axe.
something's wrong here. Well, obviously something's wrong, but I think they're saying like, yeah, I don't know.
And it's weird that they don't mention what the other guy's body, like what the other guy's wounds really were. All he says is like he had like a rash of dried blood from his groin on his chest and on his throat or on his face or something like that.
Breast, groin, and throat.
But all it is a rash of dried blood that looked like a rash. They don't even tell you like what weapon it was or like what. So like I have no idea what happened. So I mean they were obviously attacked by somebody. Did one of them turn into a white and then kill the other one, or was it just wildlings? Like it could have been fucking either. I don't know. I feel like getting more explanation of the second guy would have helped, but
All right.
So
after
I don't think he killed the other one.
is this when they try and get Chet to go to bring a dog to him? They try and get Chet to
no,
Well, so they
Sam
start
comes up.
talking about what happened, and
Oh,
so
what
that's when
happened
the
with the body, yeah.
wildlings. They say the
Yeah.
wildlings at first, and then it's like, "Oh, the wildlings this close? How the
had
fuck could
access
that
to. Well,
happen?
they said,
Is
yeah,
there no
Wildling
one?"
had access to. Oh, they say maybe was it Mance Raider? You think it was
Yeah.
Mance Raider? And then he says who else?
And then, but Mormont was like, "Look, if Benjamin was going against any wildling, like he's surviving that. He's getting back to the wall. He's gonna chase him around and then kill him, type of deal." So like, he kind of refutes that, and then nobody really wants to bring up the other option of who
Well,
did
someone says like, well, then I think Riker poses like that maybe they went further north and then they all got attacked, and these two were on the way back.
Yeah.
And they died. That's why they like didn't come back to the wall or whatever. But yeah, then they basically just like at that one point when he says who else when they suggest Mance Raider, then like silence falls. No one wants to say anything.
Because they're all
And
thinking
then-
the
Johnny
others.
Johnny Boy brings up Old Nan.
He starts thinking about Old Nan.
Yeah,
Well, like their stories and,
No,
and
not
talking
yet.
about the others.
I don't think that was yet.
no,
No,
it's
he just
not
says it
the
like
once
quickly.
boy who sat at Old Nan's feet with Brandon, Rob, and Arya.
Okay, I guess he does.
Grow
yeah.
up, fellas.
Well, he goes through the big story later. I got you.
No, so right before that though, that's when Sam points out that they've only been like these bodies are fresh, they've been here a day or two, and Sam's like, no, they can't be true because there's not enough blood. And then it comes out that like, oh, they don't even stink. And Riker's like, that can't be true. What you're saying can't be true because they don't stink. And Sam's like, yeah, that's because all animals are afraid of them, even like worms and grubs and shit that like would normally cause rot. So like they've just been completely untouched. Is that true? Does a body not rot if like shit doesn't get into it?
I mean, if bacteria is not going to eat it, then no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
If you can
Is there any?
translate
I guess you pump
bacteria to
you pump a body through of or full of what?
Well,
What
I
do they
guess
put
John
in?
also does say it's like really warm out, right?
Yeah, they're
but what would that
sweating.
have?
Like that would make a body stink.
Yeah, it would definitely speed up the process. But what do they put in like actual bodies now? Like dead
embalming
bodies,
fluid.
embalming fluid to like try and keep them a little bit fresher. So I guess it's kind of true that you can do something.
I mean, so if the animals are scared of it and the worms and maggots, does that mean bacteria is? Because that's really what decomposes a dead body. Well, and the maggots.
I mean, let's ask George about
let's ask him.
the biology
Yeah,
Are they
behind
smart
these
enough
guys.
to know it's a white?
Let's ask for a couple of samples that we can look under a
Well, don't they say
microscope.
like animals can like see ghosts and stuff?
Well, maybe it's not even that they're scared of it. It's just that it can't even. There's
Not that
nothing
I believe
for it
in
to eat.
ghosts. I'm not crazy, but like that's a thing people say.
Dude, ghosts are real. What do you mean?
I knew you would say that.
Especially cats.
So
It's
weak-
true.
you're so
what the fuck you talking
weak-minded.
about? No, I'm not.
So weak.
It's fucking real.
Moving
It's
on.
real life.
So because Sam points out that no animals can go near it, this is when they're like, "Okay, Chet, try and take a dog over there." And he like kicks him and like pulls him, and he can't get him. And he like starts to try and like carry one, and it like goes to attack him and then runs away. Like this dog wants fucking nothing to do with this. And then they're like, "Okay, fucking bring him back." And Mormon's like, "All right, bring him back to the wall." But then they like can't fucking like lash him up on horses or anything because the horses are all like.
Well, everybody's.
terrified.
Well, a couple of guys say burn them.
Yeah.
Like fuck
Well, yeah,
this.
there's,
Like this
burn
is
'em
weird
right
shit.
away, like,
Let's burn them.
Burn 'em.
And he's like, I want Mace Raymond to see him first.
Yeah. So they try
Tell
and saddle him up,
Mace.
and on the way back, John's thinking that because it's so warm because they call it like what the fall
Spirit
summer,
Spirit summer.
Spirit summer, and it comes right before the winter, like the summer gets hotter right before wintertime comes or something. And then he also mentions that long summer means long winter is what the people say, and this has been a long ass summer.
10 years.
And then this is when he talks about that old Nan story. When you guys want to read it, Jeff?
Well, we didn't talk about this either. That like so they're gonna gather pretty much everybody available to go sweep those woods. Is the
Yeah, he
That's
said
the final
he
plan.
tells Riker. Is that at this point?
it's
Or is
before
this
that
later?
Yeah,
Okay.
he said I want these woods searched. Is what he says. Every rock, every branch, whatever.
Every tree, every rock, every bush, and every foot of muddy ground within 10 leagues of here. Use all of the men you have, and if you don't have enough, use borrow hunters and or
Because
if you don't
there's
have
a
enough,
point where
borrow
he's
hunters
like-
and farcers from the
Yeah, there's a
sewage.
point where he's like scolding Riker again, and Riker says like, "Well, you told me not to range that far since Benjamin left."
Yeah, that was earlier on.
That's different stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's earlier on, but that's what I'm talking about. He's basically like redacting that command and like doing the opposite of it. He's like, "I'm tired of not ranging. Do the opposite. Go fucking find these guys and find anybody else. And if you find them, try and bring them back alive."
Yep. So then we go on to the Nan story.
yeah.
In that darkness, the others came riding.
She used to say, dropping her voice lower and lower.
Cold and dead they were, and they hated iron and fire and the touch of sun, and every living creature with hot blood in its veins. Hold-fast cities and kingdoms of men all fell before them, as they moved south on pale dead horses, leading hosts of the slain. They fed their dead servants on the flesh of human children. Dot, dot, dot.
Dot, dot, dot.
Kyle, thoughts on the quote? Now that you know I only include super good quotes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see where John's coming from with the, like, this is bullshit, obviously. Like, I think he thinks it's bullshit until later, maybe. But, like, it's...
I think everybody thinks it's bullshit.
I don't... Yeah, but not the people on the wall. To some degree. It's one of
But,
those
like, this
things
can't
that
be
holds...
true then, right? Like, she says they take over, like, holdfasts. Like, how would nobody believe this shit if they've taken over holdfast before?
Because it's been like 8,000 years ago. That's like, dude, think about 8,000 years ago. Think about just
Yes.
our world 8,000 years ago. That's 6,000.
BC.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, come on.
No, it's definitely... It's one of those fairy tales that potentially has some truth in it. And like I said, later we find out that it might be more true than anybody wants to believe. It's also one of those things where you're kind of safer, I guess, quote unquote, by not believing it. Like if these things exist, then
hmm
shit's really fucked.
I mean, just imagine if like cavemen were actually like, I don't know, like a haunted fucking killers that were like rumored to still be hiding in a cave and could fucking pop out.
I love it.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like,
man. When Sasquatch showed
yeah,
up,
just like an army of Sasquatches are waiting.
Jeff does believe in Sasquatch. Sasquatch are ghosts.
My name's Daryl. It's a Geico commercial, or
I don't get it.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
My name's Daryl.
My name's Daryl. Dude, I miss those Bigfoot commercials.
All right, so this is where we get back to the wall. John sees the wall. Mormont's like, all right, good job to each of you guys. Pat on the back to Sam and John for doing a good job when they're out there. And when they get back there,
intercepted.
Bone Marsh is waiting for him. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he intercepts him from going where they want to go.
John has this cool thought how like when he comes back and hears the horn blow, how like that horn means like Rangers are coming back, and he was a Ranger for a day.
Yeah.
Because he always wanted to be a Ranger. So he goes back. Bone Marsh waiting there. Looks at John strangely. There's
it's still kind of a stupid thought to have in a sense. I mean, I know he always wanted to be a Ranger, but I mean, everything Sam said was true. Like, he's out on this fucking high level mission that he even says it at the beginning, like he would have been a fool to go out on this mission that he wanted to go out on originally.
Yeah, with Benjen, he went like, if he's like, thank God Benjen was like, yeah, it was right for me because I was not ready.
Yeah, exactly. And so like now here he is, like he's already in the upper echelon, like still just a boy, like we were talking about, just becoming a man, and so like to still long to be a Ranger, like he's gonna be better than that, I think, and like he should see that at this point.
Well, not if he keeps this up. Not if he keeps his act to the rest of this chapter up.
Yeah, I mean, he has a crazy moment there for sure that I was kind of avoiding because we're not there yet. But yeah.
So we get back, and Bo Marsh has got this letter. Mormont goes to see it. He's with Eamon. John takes care of the horses. Helps put the bodies in the ice storage rooms.
But he knows something's wrong the whole time.
Yeah, because people are like looking at him. Somebody like Donald Noy, the armory guy, like calls out to him like "Stay strong" or something, and Alistair's giving him this like shit-eating grin, right? So he's going to find Toad and Gran, but he passes Papar in the common hall. Pip.
He tells him what's up. He says King is dead.
So
yeah, John's like, what the fuck's going on? Why is everybody looking at me weird?
Why is everybody looking at me?
And Pip's like, the King's dead, and we know he's like your dad's
best friend.
Yeah.
As close as brothers they were.
Pip leaves out some crucial...
Does he know, though?
He knows 20 minutes later when John comes back down.
Yeah, he might assume he knew. He wasn't going to be the one to tell him that. Come on.
I don't know either. Maybe he doesn't. And they don't talk about how
want to be the bearer of bad news. Like, yeah, he didn't want to tell.
Ned Stark holds one thing true, and that's his honor. And everyone just now believes he's a traitor. Like, come on. Like, you think Pip was a little ass Pip who's already gotten his ass beat by John enough times in the yard was going to tell that to him?
He had to know, right? Because sure, the King's dead, but like, why would John care about that like any more than anybody else? Just because he's like his
maybe
dad's
they
friend.
Thought like they were actually closer, like they actually met like a bunch throughout their life.
I mean, Pip probably was just like, the King's dead.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't hang out long. He's like, because he's like, what happened beyond the wall? And he's like, those dead bodies. Ask Sam about it. I gotta go. And then he goes to see Mormont. Right, Kyle? You look like you were gonna say something there.
No. I was just laughing at your wrap up. It was good. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, there's some shit out there, but the bodies were a little queer. Is that queer? How queer?
I just talked to Sam about it.
Sam will tell you. I gotta go make sure I'm not fucking off too long here. And then, sure enough, he was fucking off too long. He's like, because Mormont was waiting for him. He said,
I don't think Mormont was really too concerned that he was late, but yeah, Mormont like obviously saw the news and wanted to talk to John about it. So he was like, yeah, if you see John, tell him to come here. I don't think he's like pissed that John wasn't here, but John gets there and the Raven's screaming. John goes in and he's like, get us each a glass of wine. And John's like, each of us? And he's like, yep, get one for you too.
But Commander, I'm 14. Sit, boy.
Mormont commanded him.
Drink.
John remained standing.
It's my father, isn't it?
The old bear tapped the letter with a finger.
Your father and the king.
He rumbled.
I won't lie to you. It's grievous news. I never thought to see another king. Not at my age, with Robert half my years and strong as a bull.
He took a gulp of wine.
They say the king loved to hunt. The things we love destroy us every time, lad. Remember that. My son loved that young wife of his. Vain woman. If not for her, he would never have thought to sell those poachers.
John could scarcely follow what he was saying.
My lord, I don't understand. What's happened to my father?
I told you to sit.
Mormont grumbled. Sit! The raven screamed.
And have a drink, damn you. That's a command, Snow.
John sat and took a sip of wine.
Okay, that's where I got it ending. That isn't this like
why do we do that and not
this
the rest?
one seems really familiar to the Robert and Ned conversation where Robert's commanded Ned to drink the whole time in the tent.
Yeah.
It's to buffer people drinking Dole's
I don't know.
wounds, I guess.
I don't know. The rest of it is just like they say shit that we already know, so I didn't think we had to do a quote about it. Part of it is that he talks about Jorah. I don't know how much we know about Jorah yet.
I believe we've told.
You remember who Jorah is, right, Kyle?
He knows who he is, but like that we learned some stuff about him. Do we know this stuff?
I thought we already talked about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this came up, but I don't think it was much information more than what's here. Really, that he sold people instead of punishing them. Correct.
Correct.
He caught poachers. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and he
instead
of taking care of the problem, the honorable, proper way of either killing them, right, or sending them to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
He sold them for himself.
Sold them to buy his girl clothes and shit.
Yeah, for this vain woman. I don't know if we knew that before. That was for that more George.
Well, I don't think we knew that part, but I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't know too much more of the story than what was just said.
I got you. And I didn't know if we learned any of it, which is why.
Yeah, I think we just knew this selling,
which is part of why I included this because like is. This
I think Joris told Danny why he was.
I think he at least said that he was selling poachers, but I don't know if he said that it was because
of his wife.
Yeah,
I don't know if he ever said for his wife.
Yeah. So basically, this is when he spills the beans. He says like, "Yeah, your dad's a traitor."
John's like, "Fuck no."
He's not.
He's like, he would never dishonor himself, but then he's like, "Oh wait, shit, I'm kind of proof."
Wait, I'm his dishonor.
Walking proof that he would dishonor himself.
What about me? What about my mother?
Oh yeah, earlier he also thought when Pip first told him the king's dead, what does he think is going to happen?
He thinks Ned's going to probably go back to Winterfell with his sisters or Arya and Sansa.
Yeah, because Joffrey don't want him no more.
And he's going to get to
meet up
visit
with Ned and be like, "Yo, dog, tell me about my mom, right? Right meow."
That's about his mom. Probably not going to happen, especially now. Well, especially even John probably doesn't think it's going to happen now. Mormont starts telling him like it doesn't really matter if he did it or not. That's none of our concern. And John's like, "Okay, well, what do you think is going to happen to him?" And he's like, "Well,
Mormont's going to write him a letter."
He's like, "Hopefully, I don't kill him because he's the High Lord. I am going." He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to write him a letter."
See what I can pull. Yeah, any strings.
Did he really say who he was writing to? Is he just writing to the
Barristan,
king?
Lord Stannis, Pycelle. He said he knew all of them.
Yeah, he said he knew. Yeah, his friends.
He's going to send a letter to the council, probably.
Just to the council. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, he said he knew all those people, but I don't think he said who he was addressing the letter to. Because he brings up Joffrey, but he was like, "Oh, that boy king, like, the mom will probably just."
I mean,
have
any
all the
letter
control.
goes through Pycelle first, right?
I guess so.
Likely, yeah.
Not that he's.
Does that mean? I mean, Pycelle doesn't read every.
Yeah, I think he should be. I think he's supposed to be delivering them with the seals unbroken, but like.
He's good. You think he's good enough to
tamper
with
seals,
it?
man.
I'm sure they have like weight. Yeah, maybe he like.
I mean, you probably just have to like remelt the bottom of the seal once you.
If you take.
Hey man, wax seals are a pain in the ass. I'll tell you that much.
I know Maker's Mark isn't that tough to open.
Mm-hmm.
No, I meant to make.
It's also like has a strip that you rip off. So.
What do you mean to make? You just heat a little thing over a thing, and then you stamp it with the thing.
Mark off.
There's a thing that you pull.
Dude, me and my brother Chris
are stupid.
No, we tried pulling it, It broke off. We stuck it in a fire to like heat up the wax so we could open it up.
Oh my lord! Get a knife.
Yeah, so he's gonna send the letter, right? And he's like, "Will the king listen to you?" Yeah, you're right. I mean, so I guess he is just writing it to everybody. The king down there, probably.
Well, they kind of just all get it.
Yeah.
I think you write it to the city, basically.
And
It
the
pretty
king's
much
a
just gets
child
broadcasted
anyway.
through the city.
Yeah,
Every
just like
letter.
this letter, just like what happened with this letter.
And
Yeah,
he's like,
exactly.
"I'm sorry that like we got some bad juju with the Lannisters going here with the whole Tyrion thing too. You know, like it's a shame because
Yeah,
he was
he's
our
like-
friend. He would have
I was
helped."
like, if he was there, he would have been. Shit would be better here for us, at least.
Yeah, and so like, but instead your mom fucked him over, and he's like, "Whoa,
She's not my mom.
Slayer
Not-
roll, not my
that-
mom."
She ain't
That
my mama.
fucking bitch ain't my mama.
Yeah, back off, man. She's not the mom.
If Ned dies, it's her fault too.
That's what he thinks to himself, and that's what John thinks to himself. And what do you guys think about this? John thinks that if Ned ends up dead, it's just as much Catelyn's fault as it would be. I think he says Cersei's, right? The Queen's.
Yeah.
Is that
Why
true?
does he think that?
Probably
she doesn't
because
capture
she captured
Tyrion.
Oh, because of Tyrion. Right.
Yeah, I don't think he
I don't know if he's
understands-
wrong.
No, I think he is. I don't think he understands the breadth of what's happening.
Ned would have gotten himself in this situation with or without Catelyn taking
Yeah,
down
and I don't
Tyrion.
think Tyrion's going to change any minds.
Somewhat off topic, I guess. But Kyle, at this point in the story, know what you know now. Do you think Cat taking Tyrion was the good move?
I mean, obviously not, because it gives more of those kind of what we were talking about last time was the reactive stuff. It gives more of those like, well, they captured one of our people. We didn't capture any of their people, and then they
Also,
take my brother. Like,
Let's think about that Cat chapter. Like, she was sitting there, like, she didn't want to get found, right? Like, even when Tyrion comes in, she didn't want to be found. She just wanted to be like, oh, you go up, I'll get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
the only reason she, like, took him was because, like, oh, people knew that she went to King's Landing? That does not make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah, she's. Well, wasn't Tyrion like kind of like, oh, what are you doing this far south type of deal to her?
Well, exactly, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she didn't just take him because he was there. I don't think, because, like, she was, at first, she was trying to hide and
I
just,
think
like, not be
I
noticed.
think he took her because she took him because he blew her cover, and he
an
thought that was.
opportunity arose. That was her. That was her
Yeah,
plan
it was
B. Was like, all right, well now I got no choice except to kind of to make this, because that was her plan all along, was to essentially find the killer and make him pay, right?
Yeah, but I think
Or
where
the person that hired the killer.
that's correct. But I think where they were at in their investigation at that point was, oh, it's Tyrion's dagger. Ned's gonna do
Yeah,
more investigation.
She
I'm
was
gonna go
against
back
the wall
north.
there, is what I'm saying, and so like she had to
But-
lay her cards down. It was definitely
I
too
understand.
early.
I understand, but I just don't know like how against the wall are you? Like how bad is it if people know that she was in King's Landing? I guess I don't know.
But
It's
enough-
just it's
well,
just
it's enough
again,
that
yeah.
whoever did
At
it.
this point, it's probably
Dude,
even
I
weirder
think it's
because like
pretty
she's
fucking-
come and gone it without without said anything.
I think it's a
right?
pretty big thing because of that. Because she came unannounced, nobody saw her. Like, all right, what the fuck's the little secret going here? Like, all right, maybe you wanted to bang your husband, but you could still like come in the front gates like a normal person to do that.
And wasn't she
Yeah.
like at a place where like she couldn't technically say she was going to visit her father? Like she thinks of that as like a backup.
She was
but I
like-
think
yeah,
she's
she was
like
kind of
still
out of the way
slightly out of
for
the
it.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, was saying is like her investigation is kind of blown, like the cover of that as well is blown when they find out that she's down there.
Okay,
And,
why are you down here? I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, then that gives whoever's sending killers after her family a heads up. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's no longer
for
an
sure.
undercover investigation.
That makes sense.
So,
So
like I said, I think she played her cards. It was too early, obviously, but she did what she thought she had to do.
So you would disagree with John that it's not her fault? Wouldn't be.
Um,
Well, we know he dies, right? So
who
like,
dies?
Spoiler alert.
No, yeah, I don't think it's as much her fault. No, I don't think Tyrion would have helped that much.
Okay.
Like, you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think they really listened to him that much.
I mean,
Uh,
they might listen to him, but on this, like, Ned has information that he's going to spread to everybody that they need to stop.
Oh yeah, and like the the whole just like, well, I mean, but like, I guess Rob.
Ned's not going to stop, and they know that.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, what else doesn't happen if Tyrion comes back? It's not just that you also have Tyrion in Winterfell. It's just that, like, Ned's also not attacked in the streets, right? Because Jaime did that because Tyrion was captured.
Yeah,
so, like, there's a lot of other stuff that doesn't happen here.
I think it would have happened otherwise, though. There could have been another reason that happened.
For sure. But I'm saying, like, the Mountain doesn't attack anybody. That's retaliation, right? Like, all this stuff is the same type of... It's all, like, spiraling because of the... Like, I feel like that's, like, the climax. Not the climax, but, like, that... The
turning point.
The domino. The first domino, maybe? For sure. That's the first domino. Maybe not. Maybe you can think of the dagger as the first domino.
Bran out of the window.
Yeah, and then it's like a really long fall to the second one. But then Kat's domino is just like fucking it forks out and a million shit starts happening because everyone knows
I think that's fair. But I don't, like I said, I don't know that it's her fault per se. I think she thought maybe she's at fault, but it wasn't because she was doing something she thought
the better of two evils.
That was wrong. She thought she was doing right, and she thought she was pursuing, which obviously doesn't make it right, but
I mean, I feel like she started realizing that she made a mistake too. Like she even started warming up to Tyrion. She wasn't friends with them by any means, but like she ended up not being too cold to him, like realizing like, yeah, this dude's probably not the dude that sent a dagger to my child.
Yeah. So to keep moving in the chapter, Jon asks out his sisters, and basically like there's no mention, but I'll ask for him in the letter. Basically, Jon starts giving more of the silent treatment. He's like, "Don't do anything dumb." Jon doesn't say anything. He's like, "Remember, you're a man of the Night's Watch," and Jon doesn't say anything. And he's like, "Okay, you can go." And then Jon like gets up, leaves, and then go, Jeff.
He goes down to the mess hall where it looks like most people, like they all know, like they're looking at him and he sees that.
He says like the most of the day goes by like kind of in a fog, but at least like he has ghosts to keep him company. And I bring this up because he says his ghosts keep him company, while Arya and Sansa don't even have that luxury right now, right? Like,
right, because Lady
Ned's in prison.
How did he know that? How did he know that?
I think there had to be letters.
Like, oh, hey, Lady died and Nymeria ran away.
Because they knew about Tyrion getting taken, so they got to know about.
Who wrote that letter though?
Tyrion getting taken is a way bigger like realm issue than like the Hand's two daughters' pets dying and running away.
I mean, did they have conversations with each other? Do they write letters to each other?
Yeah, he might write letters to Robb
or Arya, and
I don't think so because he doesn't say anything about her dancing master or anything like that, and that she would definitely include that in the letter. I don't know. It's weird.
He might write. I'll
put it to he writes to Robb because Robb's close.
Yeah, possibly.
Closer.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know, but it is weird. I never thought about it.
That's true. I was thinking that too, darn it too, Jeff.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. As soon as Jeff brings it up, Kyle and Glow are also thinking it. Everyone's a fucking genius now. As soon as Jeff brings it up, sure.
I thought I forgot how he found out, and that's why I didn't say anything because I didn't want to sound like an idiot for forgetting how he found out. But I was like, when did he find that out?
All the time.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Moving on. So he ends up daydreaming his way into the mess hall, and he sees everybody still looking at him. The guy who gives the food gives him a little bit extra and the heel of the bread. And it's like, oh, sorry, brother. So he goes and sits down, and he hears Alistair's little.
Well, all his friends are like super supportive first.
Yeah. Like he's like, oh, these are my brothers.
Like Kyle told me he choked up when he read this part earlier.
Yeah, it was a very touching moment.
When Sam offers to go out to the weirwood trees with him, even though Sam's a huge coward and it's nighttime, he's like, I'll go out and pray with you if you want. And he's like,
yeah, it's a good part.
I'm sure he would do it.
Kyle, were you a Boy Scout, Kyle?
He's choking up now.
No.
He's choking up now.
I was a Boy Scout. What do you got to get the Boy Scouts?
No, I'm just saying, like a brotherhood type deal. Except for...
I learned more from football, brotherhood-wise from football, but I learned how to like make a fire.
I didn't know if Kyle... I guess Kyle played hockey, right?
Nelson also learned how to play the skin flute.
Kyle learned a lot about brotherhood from his bee farming. Him and all his bees. It's all a big pack family.
All right, and
they're all women. They're all female bees. You ding dong.
I thought just the queen was a female and everyone else was a male.
The entire working hive is females. The
I didn't know that.
See, you learned something on this podcast.
The males don't do anything. They just bang and die. That's it.
Good for them.
Good for them.
Well, so if they don't successfully mate at the winter, which is coming up here, though, all the women will kill them all because they're useless. Like they don't do shit. So it's like might as well thin the herd. Less.
Wait, Kyle, you could say winter is coming.
Winter is coming. Yeah.
Nice.
What is that from? I forget what that's from. But
Game of Thrones word.
I feel like I heard that before. Yeah, so then everybody's being nice, and then he hears like a voice like making fun of him. He's like, "Oh no, it's that fucker Alistair Throne,"
I know Jeff wants to do it.
Not
Jeff
only
loves-
is it a bastard, it's a traitorous bastard.
Yeah,
He puts I feel like that actor in the show puts a big emphasis on the B in bastard.
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 I never.
I
saw
feel
it.
like he
I've never
spits
seen
when
it.
he talks, like bastard.
Not only a
A little
traitor,
spit coming
No, no,
off
no.
of it.
bastard, but a traitor's bastard.
He plays him pretty well.
Yeah, he's good.
All right, Kyle, go ahead. Sorry.
So then John, he explodes. That's game over. He's like, all right, fuck this Brotherhood stuff. I'm gonna take care of something here. And he jumps over the table with a knife.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does he
he's gonna
run
go-
along the table like?
Yeah, he's
what
gonna-
a freak!
He's gonna stab this
You don't
dude
know
in the
how
eye.
far he runs, but he
Well, it
definitely.
can't be too far because he was just talking to Sam, so he was like sitting with Sam, and then Sam's there to stop him at the end. And Sam's not running that far, so like he can't be that far.
But he's gonna stab dude in the eyes, right? Like that's like
Takes a
that's
slap.
some serious. That's like not just like a beef stab. That's like I'm trying
You're
to fuck
dead.
this guy's life up stab. You
You're
know?
dead stab, yeah. I mean, but also like we were talking about it last chapter. This is one of those sections in the chapter where I was like started like reading faster, like getting the adrenaline up. Like John sprints across the table, grabs a knife, kicks the bowl, blah blah blah.
That happened at the end
grabs
for
it.
me, but
Yeah,
yeah,
the last part too.
this chapter is a lot more stuff happening.
Yeah. What's his repercussions for these actions?
Well, he gets stripped of all his weapons, and he gets thrown into his cell.
It's like, yeah, not locked in, but like you're not allowed.
He's
to
locked in.
guarded.
He's under guard. He's told not to go anywhere.
They say he's not locked. They don't say he's locked in, which is a good point to like not say because like later when the guard dies, he's able to open his cell. So like, he's not locked in, but like don't go anywhere. This guard's out here.
Yeah, and he's going to tell us if he goes somewhere, so you're pretty much locked in.
Yeah, but not like you're not physically
Yeah.
locked in though.
Yeah, you're not a prisoner, but
But you're not going out on any fucking rides, all right?
we
So
got to
he's
figure out what
locked
the
in.
fuck's going on with you.
No
So-
going on rides with your direwolf here.
But he gets Ghost. He gets to chill Ghost. So he's like, Ghost, Ned's not a traitor. And then he stares at the candle. He's like, I'm not gonna fall asleep. And then he wakes up
He
later,
falls asleep.
and then Ghost,
Ghost
is
is
like,
just digging a hole through the door.
yeah, exactly, like taking chunks out of it. And when he like when John gets his attention, he like looks back and he says it was a silent snarl, and John was like, "Holy shit, dude, it's me. Chill the fuck out." So like Ghost just definitely looks angry.
I mean, is a silent snarl like that scary? Like if a dog just like looks at you,
It's that
like,
thing
without
where they,
the-
like-
Bears
it's
its
that thing
teeth
where
and
they,
he's
like-
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where, like,
all right,
just
but
like
it's
And
just
he's
not
used
like-
to his direwolf. He knows when he's threatening.
Well, no shit. That's why he shouldn't be fucking scared.
I mean, I
And
don't know.
he's scared because he's threatened by him. He's like, oh, this is what Tyrion felt like when fucking Ghost did it to him.
When that happened, he was a little fucking pup.
This is slightly different because my dog isn't silent, but like
Same size
my dog
proportion.
like doesn't like bark at stuff. Like he doesn't bark unless like you tell him to, unless you like I taught him to speak. But like besides that, he doesn't bark. And one time I came in the house, and it was dark. All the lights were off in the house. It was dark outside, and it was raining out. And I had this big coat on. And I come in, and my dog must not have recognized me. He got really low, and he fucking did that for the first. It's the only time I ever see him like bare his teeth at me like that. And he made like an actual snarl, but it like freaked me the fuck out. I'm like, yo, dude, and I like dropped my hood. I was like, it's me. Turn the lights on real quick. Like, do
All I
not
was
fucking murder
saying-
me right now.
All I was saying that the snarl is half of the fear when a dog's doing that. Is more than half.
What do you mean? That it's afraid?
No, like
Yeah, he's-
you better
No,
Oh,
watch
the
it
it.
noise.
reduces
The
the
noise.
fear.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not the same because like my dog did actually make noise in this occasion, but I don't know. It's still kind of off-putting when your dog looks at it. Like when your dog
Well,
like
this is
just
like
never
an
looked at you like that
8-foot-tall
before. Like,
dog,
yeah,
too,
it's
man.
a big dog too.
Like it's like if a bear bares its teeth at you, like I mean that's pretty fucked up, you know. Like you're like, all right,
My dog's
Yeah.
big though.
It's definitely, yeah, it's not like, oh, he just showed his teeth. Like, oh, he's smiling at me. But the noise, I think, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit weird that Ghost makes no noise. Like, I don't know. It's not
right.
definitely not as scary as if he made noise. That's all I'm saying.
Well, there's like a couple times where they mention not making noise, and we'll get to
He
another
never
one
makes
in a little
noise.
bit. So keep. I mean, in this chapter,
He's a ghost.
Keep going. So John gets up.
Yeah, he's pretty ballsy opening that door, man. I don't know
I think
that
doesn't he look out the window first and see that the
No.
guy is like laying down?
No,
He's like, all
He
right,
opens
what's
the
going
door,
on out
And there's
here?
a body across the steps.
Yeah, he peeks out and he sees that there's a body, chest down but face up.
He's like, how is he looking at me?
Chest
Yeah.
down. What's the song?
So basically, he sneaks out of his room, sees a guy dead there, and does he look towards?
He hears something going into
yeah, he
Lord.
hears, and then
Mormont.
Ghost starts moving that way.
Ghost bolts
so he
halfway up
grabs
and
the
looks
dude's
at him.
sword, the dead dude's
Corn.
sword.
Yeah, and they start hearing corn.
And he runs on up or sneaks on up. He doesn't run because he's trying to take his time, see what's going on out there. Eventually gets to Mormont's chambers and sees a dark silhouette wandering around. And that's when Ghost goes right
Because
after
it's
the
pitch
dude, right?
black.
Yeah, it's pitch black
pitch
in
black,
there.
so
The
the
curtains are
curtain-
covered.
So he sees I think he says like a shadow in the shadows or something like that. And Ghost goes at him, and I think Ghost slept. Man and Wolf went down together with neither scream nor snarl. That's weird, right? Like Ghost isn't making any fucking noise as he kills this guy, and because this guy's like already dead, he's not screaming
He's
at all.
not,
So like
yeah.
you just hear like the tumbling.
Just rustling.
It's like God.
That is weird as shit.
I don't know how that plays out in the show, but it doesn't
Yeah, I didn't
seem
think
like
about
that.
it that way, but yeah, that is a
Ghost isn't silent in the show.
Ghost isn't silent. And I think even like the other might be like,
Yeah, like Nazi zombie noise.
probably.
Nazi zombies noises. Yeah.
max ammo.
But yeah, cool. So cool fight scene. Who wants to summarize it?
So they start grappling. They're fighting. They eventually fall to the ground, and the white starts moving his hands to Ghost's neck and starts basically strangling him. That's when John steps in, brings down his sword right on the dude's, I guess, forearm, and cuts the one forearm right off. And Ghost gets away from the white at that point. As it goes on, John just slashes at the dude a couple times, hits him in the face, and the dude just keeps coming at him, and eventually sticks his hand in John's fucking
Right.
mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
like
think
starts
they go
choking him
down.
out.
I think they go down first. Like John loses
Yeah,
his sword, and
they
both
land
go
on a
down.
fallen table or something like that.
Well, and like the other hand's like moving
And
around
at one
on
point,
the other side of the room still.
before that, the hand crawls up John's leg and he like flicks it across the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he goes down, and then this is when the fucking white is fucking fingering John's throat with his fucking cold ass hands, and then Ghost
Macaroni in a pot.
Ghost knocks him off. Ghost knocks him off. And John's like kind of confused for a second. He's like, oh fuck, I should get my sword. And then he sees naked ass Mormont standing across the way.
Can he
And
not
Mormont has
find
no
him?
fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah,
Mormont's like, what the fuck?
somewhere in there, before a lot of that, like John, because it's pitch black, like just keeps his back to the wall until he can get to the curtains, and he just rips them
Yeah.
down and throws them on the floor.
Yes.
So that's now there's moonlight, and that's how he can see all this shit.
Mormont shows up with a lantern,
Yeah.
and the crows start screaming, "Burn!" Right?
Is it
at the very end?
I mean, we're
'Cause
kind of close
John-
to the end. So the
I
I
thought
mean,
this was
devil's
the
in
so
the
same
thing.
John
idea.
throws it on the drapes.
Well, John sees the hand going
And
from
then-
Mormont. John gets a sword and sees the hand going from Mormont, but like he can't yell, so he like goes over there and kicks it or something. He watched only for half conscious for a long moment before he finally remembered to look for a sword. He saw Lord Mormont naked and groggy from sleep, standing in the door with an oil lamp in hand. Gnawed and fingerless, the arm thrashed on the floor, wriggling towards him. John tried to shout, but the voice was gone. Staggering to his feet, he kicked the arm away and snatched the lamp from the old bear's fingers. The flame flickered, almost died. Bird! The raven called. Bird, bird, bird! Spinning, John saw the drapes he dripped from the window. He flung the lamp into the puddle of cloth with both hands. Metal crunched, glass shattered, oil spewed, and the hangings went up in a great whoosh of flames. The heat on his face was sweeter than any kiss John had ever known. Ghost! John shouted. The direwolf wrenched free and came to him as the white struggled to rise. Dark snake spilling from the great wound in its belly. John plunged his hand into the flames, grabbed a fistful of the burning drapes, and whipped him at the dead man. Let it burn, he prayed as the cloth smelted the corpse. Please, please, let it burn.
We don't need no other. Let that motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker.
What do you think, Kyle? Is it going to burn?
Yes.
All right, that's it from Kyle's predictions. We'll see you guys in the next.
Bye, Kyle.
I don't know what else, what more we can get here. Just what's going to happen with John next.
I think you missed the part where it was ortho or whatever, right? Orthor.
Oh, yeah, it does
was
mention that
Orthor.
it's his face. And the blue eyes.
The blue eyes.
His eyes are blue.
Well, they
and,
talked
like,
about that out in the woods too. I mean, obviously we can't hit every fucking detail or else we're going to be reading the chapter. But so like, yeah, that neither of them had blue eyes before they died. Their hands are
Black, but the rest of them is too
and their
pale.
skin is pale white. Like, I mean, they both look the same.
It's weird
And-
too that they say that the eyes almost look like they're frosted over, like it's
Snow covered or
ice.
something like
Yeah, something like a window in winter.
And then, so here's the other question, right? So the other dude's down in the crypt, but he doesn't have a head. Is that why he didn't show up?
Because his head was half off. Maybe.
But like, I mean, this guy's hand crawled around. So like, is the other dude?
I'm
right
also
down
wondering,
there? Who
like,
knows?
John took care of this.
It
I
is
was
weird that
thinking-
they didn't mention the
And
other
I
guy.
honestly don't remember. I was thinking, like, John took care of this one in this room. Did somebody else kill another one earlier on? Because, like, we know this one killed the guard on the stairs. And John said,
Nobody killed
well,
any.
John
of
said
them.
this tower is guarded all the time. So, like, say two of them attacked the tower and they killed, and one of them died early on, and then this one made it the whole way up.
Okay.
I think the, like,
I have
alarm
no
would've-
idea because it doesn't.
Yeah, they would have to
I
blow a
honestly
horn or
thought both of
something.
them were going to be in the room. I thought both of them were up here. So I don't know what's up with the other one. Maybe it didn't come because its head got cut or whatever reason, but I'm not sure.
Maybe
This is probably.
don't know.
I mean, I know obviously a couple people died and like almost Mormont almost died, but this is probably the best way to find out these guys are alive, rather than when you're out there on their territory.
Well, also
or,
for John.
A la how Othor found out.
Yeah, exactly. That, or they breach the wall and there's hundreds
Well, I'm
of
saying,
them
like,
on
this
your
is-
side. Like one or two is like at least.
This
you
is
have a
also
chance.
like very convenient for John. Like if this thing doesn't come to life, right? Mormont says
he's
like
pretty
they're
fucked.
about to be a trial for John with all the high officers. He just tried
Yeah.
to kill fucking the Alistair Thorne, the fucking
Alistair.
Master at Arms at the Night's Watch. What do you mean? Like you're fucked. And now he saves Lord
yeah.
Brenner's life. Like this might buy him some leniency at least, but like
Eh,
For
there's,
sure.
There's
And
fights
a
on
bigger,
the wall.
There's a bigger enemy. Is the other side.
yeah.
He's not enemy
For
number
sure, but,
one
like,
anymore.
Mormont had to like maybe not know, but like they're all suspicious. They have to all be suspicious, right? Like especially after like you mentioned, like
At
they
this
know
point,
that
yeah.
the eyes were different colors and like they all know the stories.
All the dogs and
Yeah, they all
horses
know
are
the
terrified
stories.
of a dead body.
Kyle, what do you think they do with this newfound info that I don't know that these fuckers are alive type of deal, like the Walking Dead?
Well, the real problem is so like they're now because they're pretty much closest to Winterfell. So now Winterfell is going to have to fight a war on two fronts, essentially, right? So
I mean, you got the wall, so
the wall, which is undermanned, understaffed, undercared for. Like they need to send people in both directions, and that's a problem because Winterfell obviously isn't that big to begin with. So at least in terms of the land versus the Lannisters.
So do you think this is like an immediate thing that, like, how soon do you think the?
Oh no, I don't think
The
it's
Army
like
of the
immediate,
Dead
but I
is-
mean, there's definitely the threat is now here,
Oh yeah, the threat for
and
sure.
they need to do. They should be doing something to prepare for that.
Yeah,
threat.
I feel like one of the problems is that, like, all right, so you got two people probably dead. We'll say around two people dead, then two people who actually witnessed this thing, the Walking Dead, and then you've got a whole land of people that don't believe in anything like this, and like unless there's proof, you know, you don't really know how they're gonna react to it. Like, oh, there's fucking douchebags at the wall
you're
are
right. I mean,
scared.
so that's even the same as like people with the UFO claims. You know, like
Mhm.
nobody believes that shit, but
yeah, exactly.
those people they may believe it, and they
But
may
somebody's
have had,
tractor beamed up, like right as we're speaking.
Exactly. So it's the same. It's really the same idea as a lot of those cryptids and things like that. So yeah, you're right. It's gonna take some proof, but I think they kind of have proof in these guys to some degree.
I mean, they just got
But-
body parts now.
Well, they
Burned body
potentially have
parts.
one guy.
Well, just from the one, the other one's somewhere.
Yeah.
The hand's still moving.
And they have a guy.
Yeah, I was. So, all right.
What about the hand in the jar? Is the other
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
thing in there like
wriggling
floating
around.
Well, yeah. Who was missing
Yeah.
the hand? Uther.
It was the other
No,
one.
no, the other
The-
one.
the
Because this guy
flowers
had
dude.
two when he this guy had two at the
Jafar.
beginning of the chapter or at the beginning of this fight. Yeah. So the other guy never even woke up. So maybe if that guy woke up, the hand would have woke up too, in the jar.
So that was the other side of this. So that was
Or
kind of
did
what
he?
we
We
were
I
don't
talking
know what
about.
happened to him.
When you were wondering if Othar killed Jafar or whatever at the
Jafar.
beginning. That's why I don't think it did, because he was essentially dead again, right? Like, I mean, I guess I don't know the properties of these whites just yet, but like, I mean, he was laying there dead, face down, and he came back to
Yeah,
life.
it's probably
You
not
think
like
he
an off
turned,
on.
killed that guy,
Yeah, it's probably
and
not
then-
like an off on,
yeah,
off on,
and then-
off on type thing.
Yeah, like, so I mean, that was kind of why I didn't think, and I didn't want to get too far ahead, because obviously this is the very end of the chapter.
Everyone gets one, Peter.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't think he killed his buddy. I think that was just them trying to rationalize the supernatural, irrational kind of fears that they had.
Do you have any thoughts on these bodies were probably moved here? Any
Yeah,
significance to
something
that?
from there.
Any significance to that?
Well, it's like here, it's essentially these are your people, and now they're ours, and I think it's a kind of
So
a
yeah,
threat.
but is it wildlings that are like, yo, look, we fucked up your guys, and they didn't even know that they were gonna come back,
No.
or is it White Walkers?
No, it's the White Walkers. It's got to be the White Walkers. Why would it be the Wildlings? They wouldn't. They sound like they're just as afraid of the whites as well.
I don't understand how that has anything to do with them also being in a feud with the Night's Watch. We know the Night's Watch are in a feud with the Wildlings, right?
Yeah.
So even if they both have an enemy, they're still in a feud with each other.
Are the wild? How do we know the wildlings are scared of them too?
Why would the Wildlings be picking up the dead whites and bringing them back to the wall?
I'm saying if the Wildlings killed if the Benjamin's party meets some Wildlings win that fight, and now they have two dead Night's Watchmen. Like throw them near the wall where they're gonna be found and be like, "Yo, fuck you! We just fucked up your guys." Like if
But they're whites.
you're like you just said they weren't until they like. What do you mean they weren't until they came alive?
That's what killed them. Isn't that part of it? Is that a white has to kill? I don't know the mechanics of these
I don't
things
know.
yet, I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, like, does it
Well,
like?
do
Is
you
it just, like,
remember-
being in the north of the wall,
Can they
or
just
is it if you
reanimate all corpses, or do they have
I
to?
thought it
like,
was just stuff in the
is
north,
that-
but I might be wrong.
But
About
so
this.
what I thought was happening when that thing was finger banging John's mouth was it was turning him.
Oh, maybe. Like, to be honest, like we do not get that much about White Walkers or whites in the books, like besides what we have now. You have to realize where they end is way before any of the White Walker stuff from the show like really gets introduced. And I'm not saying there's nothing else, but like I haven't studied it in depth, and it's not a thing we get like 10 chapters a book, right? So
Quit spoiling.
much less than that. so
So we don't get Night King chapters or whatever. Ice
I'm
King
not saying anything
chapters?
about that, but
All right.
it's not a lot. So like I don't know how it works. I kind of thought it was like everything in the north was kind of like potentially turned into a white.
That doesn't
Why-
make sense.
why
That
just the north?
logically doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying you're
Like there's an
I'm not saying you're
equator
wrong,
line that
but-
just cuts it off.
I was thinking the wall, but maybe I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, I don't know why you thought that either.
maybe that's why the original people built the wall there. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so I just assumed they wouldn't be able to just reanimate any corpse. Is why I didn't think that the wildlings.
Yeah, no, that
would.
makes sense.
And that makes sense as to why the other might not have gotten up because he barely
However-
had a head. How can you?
Well, then why
Can
put
you
that one
reanimate?
there? Okay, so hold on. Other way, if the others put these bodies there, why put the one that can't come back? Boom.
They
Mercy.
just kind of
With the
forgot.
wildlings.
We just kind of
We kinda
forgot that we
forgot
killed
that-
two
we cut that
people.
one too. We kind of forgot we cut that one's head that far. But does the head even matter? John slice the other one in the head. Like we don't know we don't know what's going on. That one might.
We
have
kind
come
of
back
forgot
and
what
got
happened
killed.
to
We don't know.
Jafar.
We literally forgot what happened to Jafar, so we'll find out as all four of us together. We'll find out next John chapter. I guess.
And with that,
we'll leave Kyle unless he has any other predictions.
get the hell out of here, Kyle.
Nah, man, I don't think I got anything else.
All right, I feel like we kept that one decently short for how long of an actual chapter it was. Probably the longest of the book.
Yeah,
so
we
far,
bullshit a little bit.
Did we say goodnight, goodbyes?
We will
Bye,
see
Kyle.
Good night,
everyone
goodbyes.
in the next chapter. I think it's at Bran 4 or something like that.
Brand something.
It's another long one, so we'll see what's going on with Bran in Winterfell.
Bye, Kyle.
See you in the next one, Kyle.
See you later, Kyle.
Later, guys.
Now, the spoiler section of
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Kyle. It's great hanging out, friend. See you on the next sode. I forget who's next. But now on to the spoiler section of John 7.
fucking Bran, damn it.
Guys, what are your hot takes for this sode?
I've got a couple notes.
I was actually taking notes during...
It's always the best. These
the
are always the best
conversations.
spoiler sections when I have the notes.
Yes,
The
very
thing
true.
is, you always do it on the fucking John sections when Glow's also going to have notes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go first then, because I don't. Glow's gonna have other shit, I think, than me. I'm just gonna rattle them off, and then we'll see where we go.
Okay.
It's the second time it's mentioned that the dead walks in the crypts of Winterfell.
Yeah.
How many
All right.
times? So keep a tally, Nels.
Okay.
We're at 2.
Second time.
Where do I put that in the fucking notes?
In your noggin. I'm a steel trap. I won't forget. In Old Nan's story, she said that the others hated iron.
Correct.
Whoa.
I don't think
All right.
they handle it. And they can't escape. So
But does it kill it? Moving on. I'm just gonna say it.
Can we
I'm
discuss?
just gonna rattle them off. All right. Do we want to talk about the first thing then? I was just gonna rattle them off.
Rattle them off and then we'll discuss.
Third thing. There's something goofy. Oh wait, hold on. I got another thing then. I'll save this for last. There's something about this fucking crow man or this raven, and it's saying corn. There's no reason. It's
I've
too
noted-
smart of a raven for it just to say corn during certain
it
things.
doesn't. I said I was going to note every single time it talked throughout all of them, and I have. And in this chapter, it says corn a couple times. Basically, anytime John enters a room, it yells corn a lot. But it yells sit during the one quote we read, and then it yells burn, burn, burn. Oh, and it yells black at one point. It yells sit when he says, my lord, I don't understand what happened to my father. I told you to sit, Mormont grumbled. Sit, the raven screamed. Then later, Mormont says he hopes John doesn't plan on doing anything stupid. John doesn't say anything back. Mormont tells him his old life ended when he took the black, and the raven goes, black! And then in the last one, when he burns it,
Corn,
The raven
sick,
goes burn,
black,
burn,
burn.
the raven yells burn before...
Before he throws it on him. Before he throws the
Is that
thing
true?
onto the
That's true.
Yeah.
drapes.
Yeah. It's true.
I
So
thought it
what
was
do we think,
after,
man?
but it was actually before.
What the fuck's going on with this raven?
So I
People
mean,
think it has to do with Blood Raven.
yeah, people think that Blood Raven or Bran goes into it, especially when it starts calling John King and Snow.
It also does some other stuff. So at some point it says strong and old a bunch of times. And then this is, I think it's probably the next chapter. It'll say strong and old in the next chapter. And then when they get to the Fist of the... Then Mormont creates this plan to go to the Fist of the First Men. And when they get to the Fist of the First Men, he says it's a good place to camp out because it's strong and old. So like the Raven says strong and old in the chapter where Mormont gets the idea to go to Fist of the First Men. And then that's how he describes it when he gets there.
Interesting.
Which is also ways people describe Mormont, right?
yeah.
Which is, I think that's
Strong old bear.
I think that's when the Raven says it next episode is because they're talking about Mormont and they say like strong or old or something like that, and that's when he says like strong old blah blah blah. But people think it's like okay, the Raven says something, it inceptions the person, basically like the Raven is inceptioning people nearby. So like burn, John burns it, strong old Mormont.
I
goes
mean,
to
at
the
that
Fist of the
point,
First Men.
I mean, wasn't it
said.
like right before he burns it? But I agree. Something's fucked up with this raven. And then the last thing, why are their hands black?
I
was
thought it
thinking
was
that.
because the blood pooled.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I think Benjen tells Bran because Benjen's hands are black, or I guess it's not Benjen in the books.
Cold
Cold
hands.
Hand tells Bran that his hands are black because that's where the blood pools. I think,
Okay.
or that's just a theory I've heard.
All right.
Does it pull in the
So
feet and the
Iron
hands,
Man, like
What? What club?
Pulls in the feet and hands, the extremities.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So the Iron Man.
Does iron kill others? Do they not need dragon glass and all that shit?
I don't think so, because he swipes at the dude's face with that iron sword and it doesn't hurt him.
That's true.
I think so.
Well, that's not another.
Yeah, true. Two things. So I think that's why they don't wield weapons is because of iron. They don't. I don't think Othor killed
That's one of the
Jaefer.
things I had, because we had said before, do we ever see whites use weapons? And we had said, no, we don't think we do. But then they said that if Othor killed him, I was assuming it was after Othor came back. But Kyle made a good point. They probably don't come back and then down and then back and then down. But I don't know if that's true. We don't know if that's true. They might come back. Like, if the others killed them, the best way to get them here would be to just, like, animate their bodies, bring them here, and then make them go to sleep again, if that's a possibility.
I mean, I'm
Right,
sure
instead of
the
actually
actual whites can do that, you know?
Well, so maybe what's his name turned Jaefer. Othor tries to slice at him, hits him, but doesn't kill him because it's not dragon glass, and he still fucking chokes him out. He turns him into a white, and that's why they're both right there. It might be early on, it might be later, and then they travel or whatever.
Oh, other way around.
Yeah, so Jaefer dies first, turns into a white.
Othor tries to hack his head off.
Yeah, because he's attacking him, and then he's still coming after him. And then
That makes sense.
Then the
But then
others
why is
send him.
Jafar? But then why is Jafar not alive?
Because they did what you said, and they...
We don't know where Jaefer is right now.
I mean, why is Jafar not alive, like, when they find him? If he was already alive at the point when Othor sliced his neck and that did not kill him...
Oh,
Why is
no,
he
so
not
I think
still
whites
alive?
can turn off and on. Like,
Turn
during the
off
day,
and on.
they're asleep or whatever you want to call it. And then
So,
at
like,
night, they reanimate.
I don't know if it's night and day. I think they control it, the higher powered ones.
I don't think this is the chapter to get into this, and maybe we can talk about it. Like I think if we get into this discussion, we might want to talk about it in a completely separate episode, maybe a couple books in. But there are theories, or there's at least a theory, that this isn't a fantasy story, and this is like a post-apocalyptic sci-fi story, right?
You said that to me before.
That's why there's so many underground caves. People ended up hiding out from some like nuclear waste or something. George R. Martin has written other books along a very similar line, where like a lot of things go underground for like a long time and then come above ground later, kind of mutated. So you kind of have the others. You have humans. You have dragons. You have things
Children
like
of
that.
the Forest.
As part of that, like, you don't have magic. You only have telekinesis, which is more of a sci-fi thing instead of a fantasy thing, right? So, like, Glow, what do you think of when you think of telekinesis?
You can telepathically communicate to another person or take over someone's body or animate them.
I think it's more like moving things with your mind, right? So, like, pretend that you can, like, contribute. And, like, I don't think this is exactly what they're doing, but a cell phone is similar to how they describe a glass candle, right? You can just basically talk to somebody else who has one over a vast distance. I don't think that cell phones are what they are using for glass candles. It doesn't make sense because you can invade people's dreams and stuff like that, right? So, but I think it's like, I don't think it's ridiculously far-fetched to think that this could have been like a way more advanced society, especially because you see stuff like evidence of dragons in Westeros in the base of the old stone and the base of in the base of the high tower, and stuff like that we don't know where that came from. Like, did it come from like super long before and then some shit happened and now it's here? Like, we came back, like the long night was like actually a huge apocalypse and we came out from underground, and that's why we don't know what was the fuck was going on before. There's theories about that, and the whole reason I bring this up is because those theories point to there's no magic in A Song of Ice and Fire. Dragons are not explained through magic. Dragons are explained through mutation that happen underground, and anything that seems magic can be explained through telekinesis, right? So like Bran, Bloodraven type stuff potentially could be telekinesis type abilities if you have like gene manipulation sometime in the vast future in a sci-fi technology. And then certain genes, I think George R. Martin has written a book where, like, because of some nuclear catastrophe or because of something that has driven a society underground, they gain telepathic powers or abilities because they lost their sight or something like that, right? Something along those lines. They gain the ability to change into animals because they were. It's like more of an evolution science fiction type thing than it is fantasy. And then something happened, and these guys regressed to the Stone Age, basically. But they still have these genes and some of this lingering like science fiction type stuff. And the point of that is that the whole reason that the whites are a thing is because the others are somehow reincarnated. Like they're not like, it's not like a zombie thing where you die and you come back to life and now you're a zombie. It's more what Glow's saying, or what I hinted at, where you turn it on and off. It's like literally just like somebody manipulating you like a puppet, and they can just do it or not do it, or do it or not do it.
Like a necromancer almost.
Exactly. So that's kind of like where that like part of that theory lends itself to that
kind of magic.
And I think, yeah, I think necromancy is more magic, but I think this theory, I'm not a huge subscriber. I think it's interesting to think about, but I'm not a huge subscriber just because like you have shadow babies.
I was literally about to say that was my one thing, like shadow babies.
Shadow baby is the thing that like kind of disproves this whole theory. But like if you look at like some of the other, like, and George R. R. Martin has written multiple books in the same.
He's mainly sci-fi.
I don't know.
Isn't he?
Yeah, mainly sci-fi, and I don't even know if sci-fi and horror, and I don't even know if he'd say in the same universe. But he basically has this race, the Hunangans. I think it's called the Hunangans or something like that. The Hunangans or something. They basically, what they do is they just go by planets, completely fuck them up, send them into a nuclear waste, and also send down mutated animals, and then just let the mutated animals kill anybody who survives the nuclear fallout. And they just try and like basically wipe out planets so they can come back later when they're uninhabited. But most of his stories, I think, take places on planets that this happened to. So like every planet this happens to has a different unique story of what happened when this happened to it. And because he has written like a few stories that are along these lines, people like wonder like, oh, can we fit A Song of Ice and Fire into this? And it like fits surprisingly better than you would think for like how it's fantasy and it's not sci-fi, unlike all these other ones. Even though some of the other sci-fi ones do have fantasy elements because some of the societies did regress so far. But yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. Maybe if people are interested, we can talk about that, and I can show you guys some Reddit links and stuff. We can talk about that in a different episode. But that's kind of like the whole theory behind the turn on and off of the whites thing. Other than like I think if you're on the side of it's magic, I don't know how you go with they can turn it on. I mean, I guess magic can work however the fuck you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like necromancy.
It's kind of like a cheap trick.
So Jeff, what I was going to say, another theory too about the iron, in the crypts, it locks the bodies in almost like there's iron swords, and there's 3, I think, tombs by the end of Windsor or whatever, what's it called? Dance of Dragons, that don't have swords due to the fact of Bran, Rickon, and Osha taking them. So a lot of people's theories that I've read is that somehow those 3 bodies, whether it's like Rickard, Brandon, I don't know if it's Leon or somebody else.
I think two of them are like really old. They say like they don't even know the names of them.
I thought it was towards the end. So I thought it was Brandon.
I think one of them is either Rickard or Brandon's, and I don't even know if like it's ever revealed. I think they just say they take one of the last 3 or something like that. But I think 2 of them are like older Starks that are, and I don't think we had no names for them.
Okay,
I'm not sure though.
All right, so my first question: who was Mormont's wife? I totally forget. I didn't even realize he was married before.
That little bitch from the Free Cities.
I'm not sure if she's from the Free Cities. She was. I think she's from a southern like Reach family. Basically, the story there is Jorah went to a tournament. I think he did better than he should have done. Impressed her. Asked, and I think the tournament was like at the woman's house, like at her father's castle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he kind of like thought he was overreaching and asked for her hand, or he did something that was like overreaching for his house because like it was a better house than him. But I think he offered like a lot of money for like a dowry. I think a dowry is normally the other way, where like a woman pays.
Yeah.
Like you pay for a woman to get married to, but I think he like does something that like basically he's like, I'll pay you a bunch of money or I'll give you this. He like trades something besides just like
he gets in a lot of debt.
He loses something else. Not only that, like his wife seems really interested in him, but like as he starts running out of money, that like fades. Like she just likes a lavish lifestyle. She likes being showered with jewels and stuff, and he just doesn't have, like, Bear Island isn't rich, so like he can't really do that. So he really has no means of like increasing his income, and his income isn't enough for his wife, so he sells poachers when the opportunity arises, hoping that it'll please his wife, who is like kind of seeming more and more like she's gonna leave him because she, like, as they run out of money, basically.
I gotcha.
I don't know if there's more importance to it than that. His wife was described to look similar to Danny. I think he tells Danny later that she reminds him of her wife. But yeah,
okay.
I think that's about it.
All right. 2 tinfoil hat theories here. Here we go, boys. It's John. You know I got to get tinfoils out. So the one when he's talking about his dream about going to the crypts.
Yeah.
He wakes up and then he stays on watch until dawn comes, basically. I'm kind of reaching here, saying that's a foreshadowing to what happens to him. He dies, basically his sleep for a little bit, wakes up during the night, and is on watch, taking care of everyone until dawn comes. So like he dying is similar to sleeping for a little bit until he wakes up and has to stay on watch until dawn.
I think you're stretching on this one.
That's why I said tinfoil hat.
What does that even mean?
I think just because I think he's gonna wake up before the long night starts. I think he comes back before the long night, and I think he'll be up before it actually starts. I think he's gonna be a big part in like preparations for it.
He's got to get killed.
That. But
I mean, it
at
would
the
suck
same time,
if that's like, if you get, it's gonna be like 2 books before you fucking, that would happen then.
No,
We don't know. When's a winner?
The long night's probably.
That's when the long night's gonna be.
It's gonna happen.
You don't think the dream of
Should
spring
start
is the
probably
long night?
3/4.
No, I think the Dream of Spring is gonna be like at the end of the Lord of the Rings. You haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
What does the dream of
What?
spring mean? Like you want this winter to be over. You're dreaming of spring, but you're still in winter.
There's a chapter or I don't know if it's a chapter or a couple chapters. There's like an epilogue section. It's like decently long at the end of Lord of the Rings. That just explains like so they solve the major problem in Lord of the Rings, and then like what now? Like what do the characters do now? So there's like a long chapter about like them just going back and like how they set up what they're gonna do for the rest of their lives. And some people hate it because they think it makes Lord of the Rings end on a very anticlimactic note, right? You did the whole thing, yay, story's over. Now we have a chapter where we're like going home and like making sure we have houses and shit.
Tying
like, what are we
loose
doing?
ends. Like, are you kidding me?
George R.
doing
Martin
this?
loves it. George R. Martin loves that though. He thinks it's like one of the best things about, because like you're so invested in these characters, you want to know what next. Because
I totally agree with the ending.
So I think Dream of Spring is going to be a lot of that. A lot of all the bad things are already taken care of, and now we're like settling marriages. Who's going to be in charge of the North for the foreseeable future? Is Doran independent again? What's
I think that's going to be the last quarter of the book. I don't think it's going to be the major portion.
Like, think about, you gotta wrap up fucking Slaver's Bay. What's going on over there? You gotta wrap up you have so much stuff to wrap up. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I think Dream of Spring is gonna be a lot of that. Because like when Dream of Spring is mentioned in these book series so far, it's when Ned tells John, me and Benjen had a dream for spring where the Winterfell and the Wall would work out an agreement where we start to take the new gift and start to settle new lords. That kind of stuff.
That's
give those incomes to the realm, right? It's a dream for spring. It's like setting up like stuff for the future.
Mother tinfoil. So I'm a big believer that the wolves have a huge influence, if not can partially work into their human counterparts. Like give them their emotions and So John at this point, when he's walking around in a fog and Ghost is right next to him the whole time, I think he has a very loose connection warg-wise with him at that point. And that's why he does the wolf blood, goes after Alistair Thorne when he's basically in a fog and fucking hears him talking shit, and that's why he loses control and goes right after him.
I mean, I feel like he's out of the fog at that point, but
he is coming out of the fog at that point.
I agree with you that they definitely feed off each other's emotions.
Like there's times just like even when they're in the woods coming back from looking at the bodies where John's thinking like, I just like as soon as Ghost runs off into the woods, he's like, I just don't feel as comfortable anymore. Like I don't like it out here. And then like Jeff said,
I mean,
Ghost
you
comes
have
back,
a huge protector. I mean, I don't.
Ghost comes back and his muzzle's all red, right? Like so now he has red eyes and a red smile, just like the trees. I don't know. I think Ghost is obviously super important.
Sure. I mean, I don't think like, oh, Ghost walked away from me and I'm in this fucking scary ass place. Like I feel less connected to him. Like obviously Ghost could fuck a lot of shit up in that forest. Like that's why he doesn't feel safe.
He's also surrounded by Mormont, Sam, Riker,
by a bunch of fuckboys that could die in a heartbeat. You don't.
But like a group of 15 people, like normally you don't not feel safe in a group of 15 people.
Right. So it's 15 people plus this huge ass wolf, and now the wolf's walked away. We're one huge weapon down.
The only reason I'm gonna concede this one to you is because they were just and still are with bodies that everything is afraid of except for Ghost. So like obviously Ghost is different. John even acknowledges he's different. Like Glow's obviously right what he's saying. Ghost is fucking different. John says it flat out in this book in this chapter when like no one will go near the bodies. He's like Ghost is different though.
Yeah, and we don't know how the other wolves would react to it. I'm sure because they're from that part, like they'd be okay. I do think it's really weird that John knew about Lady and Nymeria.
It is, and it has to be through Ghost.
That is,
I think unless it's a George R. R. Martin error, which I am very hesitant to admit he makes those. I think it's got to be a Ghost connection. Who picked up on that? Did you say that, or did Kyle say that?
I picked up on it, and Kyle was like, "Oh, it was put in a letter." That's just not wrote in a letter.
That's not in a letter. That's
Sansa and Arya aren't writing to John.
That's what I was saying. Maybe John's talking to Rob. That's the only.
There's no way that happens.
We don't know that.
It's never been. That's the only.
There's no way. I really doubt that happens.
Why would they have never mentioned that people are writing to John? Like we haven't heard any sort of communication.
And literally in the last Brand chapter, they talk about every letter they've gotten, and there's no letter from John. And they even talk about like maybe we can go visit John, and they don't talk about getting a letter from John. They talk about getting a letter from Catelyn, talk about getting a letter from King's Landing. They talk about getting letters from like all over the place, and they didn't say anything about John. So I really doubt that John got a letter. It's either a George R. R. Martin fuck up or it's Ghost, and I hope it's Ghost. That's like a really interesting catch that you made, Jeff. Props to you. Jeff gets the MVP of this podcast award.
Thanks. This is bullshit. I noticed it. I just didn't bring it up. God damn it. And my last thing is just a comment that I made last week or last episode on Sansa and how she's not a true Stark. So like Arya, or maybe it was Arya, I forget. Either way, but
why would she have a direwolf then?
She doesn't.
She did.
She doesn't. No, so I'm not saying she's a bastard. I'm saying like
okay,
mentality wise.
Okay.
Because I mean, when they did the whole crypt walk and she ran out and everyone else was there cracking up and having a good time. Here he talks about old Nan telling stories. Sansa's not there. It was Robb, Bran, and Arya with Jon sitting around old Nan. Sansa was never there. So Sansa, I feel like, is disconnected from the other siblings, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What that really means in George R. R. Martin's mind.
I mean, I think I agree, but yeah, I don't know. I agree with you that I also don't know what it means. Do you guys think it's... I don't think it's that weird. I've heard theories that people think it's really weird and that it happens a few times in the books where people lose time and basically like black out for a period of time. And one of the evidences of it is when John falls asleep in his room here. And people say it's because he's staring at a candle and his last thought is, I am not going to fall asleep. And then it says he wakes up some hours later. He must have fallen asleep because he wakes up some hours later. People think that that's like not him falling asleep and it's like a forced sleep. Another reason why people think this is because immediately before that, the two things John does is he stares at Ghost and he says, Ned didn't do this. And then he stares at a flame. Right. So it's kind of like the thing before where like, I think it was Ned, right? Or there's a thing where like Jamie has a dream while his head's on a weirwood stump in the moonlight. And I've told you guys, I think weirwoods and like the old gods and moonlight are two of the ways to send dreams. So when you do two of those things at the same time.
And now Valor is sending it through fucking candle fire.
I mean, that's how like read that passage, Jeff, and tell me that the candle thing isn't weird.
My father is no traitor, he told the direwolf when the rest had gone. Ghost looked at him in silence. John slumped against the wall, hands around his knees, and stared at the candle on the table beside his narrow bed. The flame flickered and swayed. The shadows moved around him. The room seemed to grow darker and colder. I will not sleep tonight, John thought. Yet he must have dozed. When he woke, his legs were stiff and cramped, and the candle had long since burned out. Ghost stood on his hind legs, scrabbling at the door. What? He fell asleep?
Just like the description of the candle flame, how it like turns everything dark and cold, and the shadows dance. It's kind of like how Melisandre. When do people? They say shadows dance at some point in these books at some other time.
I mean, it's a good description of how shadows move.
A candle flickers, so.
For sure. I don't know. I just like he normally doesn't describe things that intensely, and I'm with you that
he's also staring at it. When do people stare at a candle?
I think it's a stretch, right? Like I said, this is a theory. I think it's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying into it.
The weird thing about this, right?
Stock in that one.
The weird thing about this, right, is the thing that I've talked about in the last few John chapters. Ghost is kind of leading everything that happens, not only in John's storyline, but like the whole entire wall. He finds the hand.
Mm-hmm.
He saves Mormont. Who knows what happens if Mormont doesn't get saved here? Right.
Alistair becomes Lord Commander.
He saves John. By saving Mormont, he saves John. Right. John's fucked if.
Well, he saved John anyway.
Like John's gonna get kicked out of the Watch or whatever, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it goes that far.
But John, he's about to get some. He's got to get in some shit.
I don't think John's the first person on the wall that's tried to hurt somebody.
And then again, if we go back to the thing which I proposed a couple episodes ago, where Ghost is also the reason and potentially like behind John becoming the Lord Commander's steward and Sam becoming Mace Raymon's steward. Like if Ghost is involved in that, because he definitely is involved in the hand and everything else. You can't say he's not. He's directly involved in those things. If he's involved in the John and Sam thing too, he's literally influencing everything that happens to the wall.
Which makes it's not Ghost. I mean,
it's Ghost. If Ghost is not there, then shit doesn't happen.
Someone's
I'm saying Ghost is a puppet.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm just saying if Ghost isn't there, this doesn't happen.
Now I'm gonna just give a little bit of devil's advocate here. If someone is controlling Ghost, John, you would think, would know that while he's warging Ghost. Like there would be an internal fight over who's controlling Ghost.
You're right. I think if two people are warging the same animal at the same time, that happens. And I think the only time we saw that, who knows,
was when that crow guy or the Hawk name? Guy. Seven Skins talks.
Yeah, so you guys are both right. Varamir Sixskins tries to warg Orell's raven during the battle at the wall, but Orell had already died.
So he was living in the raven. He was
living in the raven. And he said when he wargs into the raven, there was like a fight going on, and he all of a sudden had a big hatred for John. Because Orell hated John, because he was jealous of the eager thing. Actually, I don't know if he's jealous in the books. I don't know if they get into that. But that is potentially a thing, but like I don't know if that's how like Blood Raven works on Ghost entire. Like sometimes, sure, maybe he's warging him, but like maybe not all
Ghost
the time.
Is just that smart, and he just has his own. I don't know. I find that hard to believe.
So like Varamir Sixskins can warg one dog, he controls 3 dogs. He can work one dog and run with it, and then also kind of control 2 other dogs at the same time.
Okay.
But doesn't
without
he?
warging them.
Yeah, can he control?
Yeah,
all
but he still
6 animals?
has
That's why I
an
call him Six
influence in
Skins.
them.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's something like that, where it's not a full warg. No, I agree with you, Globe, but there's and maybe it's just because you can't, it's really hard to write this. But the Verimir Sixskins chapter we get, there's a part where he's in the head of a wolf running, talking about how his wolves are running next to him, but he's not in their skins, but he's still controlling them. And maybe he is in all their skins at the same time, but that's not how I feel like that's not how it's described. And it's been a while since I read it, so I'm not 100% sure. I might be totally wrong on this.
We'll figure it out.
But that's my answer. So I don't know. That's a good point, Jeff. I always assumed it was it wasn't a ward thing. And the wall confuses me too, because the wall should stop stuff. And when I said that White's, did we hear that there's magic in the wall yet? Is that a spoiler?
I don't know.
for
I didn't want to say that either.
Because that's why I thought that White's happened above the wall.
I don't think so. I don't even know if we've heard of Bran the Builder other than name. I don't know if we've heard his story yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't. I thought we'd heard it, but maybe not. So I didn't say anything. But that's why I thought it was north of the wall. Yeah, I mean, just the last days, Ghost fucking saves the day again. Like I said, just kind of like I just talked about, without Ghost, nothing at the wall is happening the way it does. Mormont dies. Jon gets in a ton of trouble. Especially without Mormont to protect him. Alistair probably just kills Jon, right?
Yeah, most likely.
So Ghost is fucking saving the day again. And then next episode, this is when Jon gets Longclaw as a reward. So he goes from getting in trouble to getting Longclaw.
The next
which is dope.
Jon chapter is fucking Longclaw?
Yeah. Also, Jon burns his hand in this chapter. Bitches about it for a long ass.
Yeah, I mean, they don't bring up him burning his hand. He just grabs the flame. Doesn't say.
Yeah, but he'll bitch.
The
He'll
next
bitch
episode
about
they'll
it.
bring it, or next Jon.
Yeah.
chapter.
So Rhaegar Lyanna theory. Explain that.
What do you
If
mean?
Jon's a Targaryen-
Targaryens are not fireproof. We've discussed this multiple times.
Yeah, you've brought that up multiple times.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they're kind of fireproof.
They're fire resistant. They're
Like
not
Dany
fireproof.
picks
Dany
up-
burns her hair.
Like Dany picks up scalding hot eggs out of a fire and doesn't burn.
That's because Dany's full Targaryen.
Yeah.
It's because she's fire resistant.
Is her
She's
mom a
heat
Targaryen?
resistant.
No,
She's
I don't know that
heat
for sure,
resistant.
but I don't think so.
I don't
Yes.
know, dude.
So wouldn't Jon be?
Now, fire resistant, there's a difference.
Okay.
It's like saying waterproof and water resistant. You
Yeah,
drop
there's a
your
big
phone in the
difference
freaking
there.
toilet, it's going to get fucked up. If it gets a little water on it, it's fine.
Or you ever buy a water-resistant jacket and think it's waterproof? That's the worst.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
Just
besides
soaked.
that, I got nothing else.
Did
No
you even
comments
have?
this week.
Did you have anything, Nelson? You didn't bring anything to the table.
You guys talked about it. I said Winterfell dream, Whites use weapons, Jon loses time, Ghost saves the day. Those
All
are my
right.
notes.
Nelson's useless like usual.
I know you guys take care of it for the Jon chapters.
All right, boys.
If there's any notes we missed, feel free to comment on YouTube, tweet at us on Twitter, call Jeff on his personal cell phone and talk to him at any time. We
Yep.
are always here to talk
It's
to
always in my phone.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bran 4, I think.
Brand 4, probably. All right, see you later, guys.
Bye. Bye. I didn't stop recording.